Hello, beautiful person. Welcome to the Mindful Minute with Rix. I'm Rix. In this channel, we talk about all things wellness and, of course, a lot of yoga. So I'm using my microphone right now because our topic today needs to be heard loud and clear. It's more serious than you think. And what is this topic? It's all about loneliness. If you've clicked on this video, you might be curious about it because either you've experienced it or you're feeling a little bit low right now. And let me just tell you, it's okay. It's a very normal and common thing to feel, but I want to shed some light on this so that you can understand it, and the more you understand something, the more you can overcome or deal with it. I believe that in order to solve a problem, the first step is to identify it, right? So, what is loneliness? According to Wikipedia, loneliness is an unpleasant emotional response to perceived isolation. Now, by this first sentence alone, you can see that loneliness comes from your own perception. Loneliness is also described as social pain. Now, social pain is a psychological mechanism that helps us look for answers outside. It helps us look for social connections. If you're not getting enough social connections or intimacy, and by intimacy, I mean having deep connections with people or a special somebody, then you will end up getting lonely one way or another. No matter how hard you work on distracting yourself, it'll come back and then it'll go away and then it'll come back. So it's important to address this as early as possible. Now, this is gonna change how you see loneliness. Loneliness isn't just an emotion. It's actually a biological response that our bodies tell us when we start to feel like we need something. It's kind of like hunger. Actually, it is like hunger. When we feel hunger, it's a signal for us to go and eat, to look for food, right? If you don't eat, you starve and you die. So when we start to feel lonely, this is a signal that we need to reach out and connect with other human beings. We all need a deeper connection with people. And you don't need to have deep connections with everybody. You just need a few. And for some people, one is more than enough. Now, social connections and interactions help us feel safe. And you can trace this feeling of safety way back in the caveman days. Literally, before, if you aren't part of a tribe, you are fending for yourself out in the jungle and you get eaten by tigers and you die, right? It calls us back into being part of a group. Now, we can't just compare ourselves to the cavemen. I mean, we have evolved as a society and the world is quite modern. The loneliness epidemic actually started during the Renaissance period. This was when people started to embrace individualism. This was the rebirth of classical philosophy, literature, and art. Some of the greatest thinkers and authors came from this Renaissance period. Being your own person was praised and glorified and rewarded. Now, this kind of individualism sped up during the industrial phase because people from tribes and villages had to leave their tribes and villages to work in factories. Fast forward to today, here we are in this mess. Just joking. Here we are, the most techie and most advanced civilization yet. We are so connected digitally and socially that the distance of one country to another doesn't matter because we can connect through the internet. How awesome. Now, I'm gonna get a little bit morbid here, so listen up. The stress caused from loneliness can actually kill you. It's a very slow burn. It makes you look older, it ages you faster, it feeds cancer cells, and it lowers your immune system. Pain that you feel from being lonely actually becomes physical. According to research, loneliness is twice as dangerous as obesity and just as deadly as smoking a pack of cigarettes a day. Now, I don't know if you'd rather smoke a pack of cigarettes every day but be happy, or be a healthy person that doesn't smoke but is forever alone. You decide. We have 8 pillars of wellness to work on, and right now loneliness is part of the social wellness category. Did you know that physical pain and social pain both trigger the same response in the brain. When you're lonely all the time, your body starts to think that this is the norm. It's so normal. I'm such a loner. That's what your body starts to think. And this is when your mind and your body starts to put up defense mechanisms around social interactions and gatherings. And this is why you have some people that think they're introverted when actually they're just wounded souls with bad experiences from the past. They just feel automatically that being around people is a bad or a negative thing. So if you're lonely, even on the most shallow level, here is what you can do about that. The first step is to identify the vicious cycle that you're trapped in. Know that there's nothing to be ashamed about. It's normal. Literally every single person on the planet have experienced this same thing. Number 2, find the cause of your loneliness and self-examine. Now, this part is a little bit harder, but if you really go deep within, and when I say the term look inwards, this means to take an active interest in what's going on in here and in here. Check if you have this habit of concentrating on the negative things. And sometimes all we need to do is make a mental note and say, okay, I tend to think about the negative stuff more than the positive stuff in this situation. You can ask questions like, what was the actual context of a conversation you had with the person? Did the other person say something bad? Or did they add extra meaning to their words? Or are you adding extra meaning to their words? Do you assume the worst in others' intentions? Now, sometimes introspection isn't enough. And so seeking professional help shouldn't be something to be ashamed of. In fact, think of it as an act of courage because you're doing everything, literally everything you can to help address this issue. Loneliness is so powerful that no amount of money, fame, and whatever shiny material object you have can substitute that for the feeling we need for true human connection. Now, in a book called Solitude by the psychiatrist Dr. Anthony Storr, he said the only way to be happy is to have successful personal relationships. That's a pretty bold thing to say. So if it's not working out with you and your jowa, just forget it. Now, another doctor, I've been reading a lot of his work, and up to now I can't seem to say his name properly. His name is Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi blah 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 blah. Anyway, Dr. MC, he says that the mind with nothing to do begins to follow random patterns, usually stopping to consider something painful or disturbing. Now, I posted a video about the dangers of boredom. Link down below. This is the same thing that Dr. MC is talking about. The mind, when left alone, can start to create patterns and make up things that are painful and disturbing. However, a mind that is engaged in flowing activities or flow state activities, hobbies, or like I said, creative interests that make you lose track of time, that embrace this blissful sense of feeling. These are things that can help remove that sense of loneliness. It's not gonna exist when you are doing these things that put you in that flow state. That's why I love yoga. Yoga, to me, puts me in that state where nothing else matters but what I'm doing, how I feel, the sound of my own breathing. And that's why I love and passionately teach yoga. Okay, so that's all I have for you guys today. I hope that explanation about loneliness was helpful to you. And if so, do leave a comment because I'd love to interact with you down there, or type some kind of emoji just so that I know that you listen. Don't make me feel lonely, guys. Make sure that you like, follow, and subscribe this channel. See you guys tomorrow for another Mindful Minute. Stay beautifully inspired and peace.